The Bastion split has been the source of many deaths as I've been practicing learning speedrunning. Alright, dude. No, don't give up. Why am I giving up? I can salvage this. So today I tried to update my outdated routes from a few years ago and learn some new routes for treasure and housing. In treasure I found myself frequently struggling towards the top here, where you need to link the two ramparts without getting killed by the pigs. Then as I got a bit better with distracting them with gold long enough to connect the two ramparts, I would struggle with making the jump up without getting hit and knocked into the hole by a pig. I think that works. But after some time, I was able to string together the route pretty consistently. And it helped that treasure is usually pretty linear and doesn't have very much variation. And then I also learned how to loot bottom treasure and break the spawner. Next up was housing, where my most frequent death point was here, where you have to dig the gold in the wall before dropping down. I found that I was getting hit off quite a lot by the pigs as I was trying to mine the gold. But I did eventually figure out how to string together the treasure route, which we'll see later. With manhunt, I struggled with getting up this chest. Well, I could get up okay, but I struggled with being able to get up and loot without, quickly enough before the piglins came and swarmed that chest and made it impossible to get past. I did try to sort of navigate this by using distraction gold, but it was obviously not ideal. Then because it had taken me a while to get up, I would then sometimes get murked by a piglin while I was trying to tower up. But again, I did eventually manage to learn how to complete a manhunt route. And so with all that done, I decided to see if I could manage to complete one of these routes under the big lights in an actual run. This was again using a village filter seed because at this point I hadn't learned how to run the rest of the overworld types. So here I went and dug out a whole bunch of stone before realizing that the pickaxe from the portal chest had silk touch, so none of that counted. I then found a blacksmith which I hadn't looted before, which gave me an actual pickaxe. And then, as per my usual practice at this point, I grabbed a whole lot of wood and beds to help with the end fight later. Upon entering the Nether, I could see that I had a housing bastion. So thankfully it was one of the two that I had actually learnt, because I hadn't learnt how to do bridge and stables at this point. And so I already had some gold armor from the portal chest, so I decided to just loot these chests and then start a top housing route. So I now had my pig successfully trading. So skipping a little bit, we can see that I've managed to get all the trades that I need. And I'm starting to leave to try and figure out where the fortress is going to be. So I tarred up here to Pyrite. This is actually something that another thing that I learnt around the same time as now, but I didn't do it extremely efficiently here. But yeah, I managed to figure out that it should be in the north direction. It's just the terrain was not very good, so I had to dig quite a bit to get there. I think by this point I'm actually very close. You can see my render distance was 2 because I tried to rescan just because I was round about where I thought the fortress was meant to be but couldn't see it. But I confirmed that it is, you know, within 2 render distance, so I looked around a bit more and managed to find it. And missed my pearl. And after that it took actually quite a bit more time to find where the spawner was. Again, I'm not blaze bedding at this point just because I want to save beds for the end fight. So I'm just sort of trying to dig out the spawner while I do this, but I got really good rates. So I'm already on 8 blaze rods. Made my portal too big, but it's fine because I had enough obsidian. And then go to measure my eyes. Takes me a couple of throws. Then now I'm heading to coordinates. And it's kind of in this area, so I end up having to just sort of dig down. Also because the ghast is shooting at me. So I do my second blind and I successfully make it to the Stronghold, and then this is where everything falls apart. So it's like 22 minutes now, but basically I failed the nerve and it took me a long time. I had to rescan multiple times. I didn't really get the spike that I liked. You can see the time is just ticking up and up and up and up. I've skipped a lot, but it's now 28 minutes. I've spent like 6 minutes at least in the Stronghold without finding the portal room. Usually I would have just quit, but again, I guess the main point of this run was more to see if I could complete the Bastion split, so I don't really care that it's well past my personal best even on these filtered seeds. Just want to sort of close out the run because the Bastion split had been okay. And also just because I'm still so shaky with my end splits that I think every time I can practice it with the pressure of a real run is a good opportunity. Yeah, I have like a whole lot of beds, 4 anchors or something like that. So go wait for the perch. I get one pretty quickly, I think, and manage to get there in time. And I do some pretty horrible anchors, but I think my beds were at least good enough to get the job done with a whole lot of explosives to spare, really. So yeah, not anywhere close to my fastest, but at least managed to complete one of those new Bastion routes in a run. which is the first step towards getting better.